Hey everybody, my name is Alex Blackmer. I'm Wild Montana Action Fund's Senior Communication Manager, and I'm here with, I'm going to try and get this right, our Political and State Policy Director, Noah Marion. Did I get it?
You got it.
All right. So Noah has joined me today just to talk a little bit about our new public land champion campaign. You might have seen the videos starring Chris Fairbanks as Cal Conman. That's just one part of the work that we're doing to try and educate people about the idea that some politicians are actual public lands champions. That means we can count on them to protect public lands. And some politicians are just saying stuff to try and get elected. And I think we've seen that a lot. So I'm just gonna chat with Noah for a few minutes about that. Noah, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. How about we start by just introducing yourself a little bit, saying who you are, what you do for work, what you do for fun.
Yeah. Well, like you said, my name's Noah Marion. Live here in Missoula. Been in Montana for about 12 years now. Spent most of my time in Bozeman, but been in Missoula for the last couple of years here. Um, got a great family here in Missoula, and we spend most of our time exploring public lands and rivers all around the state. Our favorite thing to do is load up the whole family in a raft and spend weekends floating Montana's beautiful, pristine public waters and camping on public lands. And so I'm lucky that I get to in my work life work to protect those experiences. I'm our political and state policy director, so I work on a bunch of different stuff. Um, but one of them is making sure that public lands champions, real public lands champions, are the ones who get elected to office in Montana and are protecting this way of life that we all love.
I think that's super important work. We're really grateful to have Noah as part of the organization. He does yeoman's work leading all of our state policy stuff. He is working in the Capitol during the legislative session just about every day. Someone's got to do it. I'm glad it's him. Yeah, you got your daughter on the oars yet? She rowing?
She calls the boat row row. And she's been asking to go into the garage, even though it's snowing right now, and sit in the
Oh,
captain's
really?
seat.
Oh man.
Hold on to the oars. So she's 18 months old. So I think by next summer she'll be rowing her own boat for
All
sure.
right. I like that. Ready for you to just hang out and let her do the work.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a captain so I can fish the whole time.
Yeah, there you go. Um, so transitioning us into the more serious stuff now. I mentioned this ad campaign that we're putting together featuring Chris Fairbanks talking about presenting the idea of a cynical politician who is trying to use public land talking points to get elected, but also demonstrating that he doesn't actually understand or embody the things that he's talking about. There's a lot more info about that on our website at wildmontanaaction.org. But Noah, I'm curious to hear your specific take as someone who is really steeped in this work. I'd love to hear what you think a real public lands champion is and like what separates someone who voters can trust on these issues as opposed to someone who is just trying to get elected.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of at the heart of what these videos are talking about. It's really people who put their words into action, people who follow what they say on the campaign trail once they're actually in office. Um, it's not about just, fancy titles of bills like the Public Lands Access Act that really does the exact opposite. It's about being true to your word. Um, it's about doing things like, putting your money where your mouth is. It's introducing bills that protect public lands, both at the state and federal level. It's doing things that enhance our wildlife habitat. Um, it's standing up for public access to lands and waters when, wealthy out-of-staters want to shut that stuff down. It's fighting against corporate pollution when our clean air and clean water and healthy public lands are threatened. Um, it's pushing back against privatizing public lands for only the few and transferring our federal public lands. Um, it's doing things like investing in the future of conservation, and our ability to recreate on public lands. And I think one of the most important things is it's about listening to the people of Montana when they are asking for things. It's about supporting locally driven collaborative solutions and responding to constituents when they overwhelmingly support public lands issues and want to see more public lands and want to see Montana remain the way it is for generations to come.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. Because one of the things that really does unite us all as Montanans, nearly all of us, is that the importance of public lands in our lives, in
Mhm.
lots of different ways. But I really feel that that is sort of one of the things that brings us all together and we can all agree on, at least in broad strokes. And I
Mhm.
think politicians understand that, right? Which is why we get these talking points that may or may not ultimately be, put into practice at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think you laid out a lot of really, really good things to pay attention to. So my next question, and this is sort of where the rubber hits the road, is how can we tell when someone is a real public lands champion? If everybody's saying the same stuff, uh,
Mhm.
it's got to be really hard to tell who is being serious and who's just talking, right?
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, um, campaigns and politicians are good at singing the right message. That is really the reason that we are here as an organization, as Wild Montana Action Fund, and our goal is really to help you decipher who is really doing what they're saying and who is, all talk. Um, we know that, something around 87% of Montana voters say they think about clean air and wildlife and public lands when they vote. In politics, you rarely see something with that much support. So we know that it's really broadly supported. Um, and we will, um, look at candidates' records, especially those who have served in office before. We can see what they've done once they've been in office. We can see who is funding their campaigns and what their motivations might be. So our goal is really to kind of sift through all of that information, their records, their messages, what they're saying, um, in public and in smaller meetings and behind closed doors, and try and bring that information to you all and share it with everyone so that they can, that voters can make their own decisions based on some like real tangible information.
Mhm. And and it's, I think, really important to note too, and you might have more to say about this, that a public lands champion can come from anywhere, right? It's not
Hmm.
dependent on being part of a particular party. It's not dependent on being from a particular part of the state. It's really dependent on, like embodying these values and actually following through
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah, that's 100% right. I mean, I work in the state legislature a lot for part of my job, and I've seen folks from all across the political spectrum do things that would, qualify them as a public lands champion. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or a libertarian. Anyone can be a public lands champion. It's all about following through and supporting those values that we talked about earlier, which are core Montana values of, freedom to explore the outdoors and breathe clean air and drink clean water and um, fill your freezer for your family.
Mhm. So just got a couple more questions and then I'll let you go. And we've touched on this already, but why is electing public lands champions so important? Like specifically now, we're
Mhm.
recording this in February when we're in the early stages of an election cycle. Why does that matter now?
Well, it matters now because this is an election year, and every election is the most important election we've ever seen. Um, but specifically this year, we know that Montana is changing rapidly. Thousands and thousands of people move in every day. More and more, big out of state money comes in and is buying up land, and our public lands have really never faced challenges like they've are facing in the next couple of years. And it's critically important that the people that are going to be making decisions about what the future of our public lands look like are the people that are in office. Um, the people I guess I should say the people that support those Montana values around our public lands and waters are the people that need to be in decision making positions. They need to be in office, and we as Montanans really need to stand up and come together and show our elected officials and our candidates that um, not supporting Montana values is a non-starter.
Or paying lip service to them and not following through.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah. So, last question here. Then I know we've got some stuff at Wild Montana Action Fund in the works to help
Hmm.
folks, understand a little bit more about where these candidates are coming from and what they're likely to do when they're elected. So, what can folks look forward to seeing from us over the next few months?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to be out on the trail talking to voters starting in April, talking to people about everything that we're doing, different candidates, different issues. So look out for us out there. Of course, there'll be a number of these great videos that are be coming out. We've also just started publishing a blog series that really lays out like what makes a public lands champion. And I think that's going to be a really great place for people to start to really learn more about what we're talking about when we say public lands champion and how we're going to be assessing um, who is a public lands champion. Um, Beyond that, we'll be having a number of different events throughout March and April in different communities around the state. So look out for that. There'll be lots of opportunities to volunteer throughout the next year to um, make phone calls or talk to folks or write letters to the editor or get involved in whatever way you're excited to help out the movement. Um, and then the final kind of thing I would say is we have what we call our action team at Wild Montana Action Fund. And this is kind of our core group of volunteers that are ready to step up and make a difference for public lands in this 2024 election. And so I would encourage folks to check that out, sign up, and we'll reach out to you as soon as there's opportunities.
Right on. Yeah, I think that's all really important stuff. If you want to check out any of the things Noah just mentioned, head over to wildmontanaaction.org. You can find all the resources there from the action team to the blogs to the satirical campaign videos starring Chris Fairbanks. Noah, that's all I got. Any final thoughts from you?
No, I just hope to meet lots of great new folks this year. Um, and I look forward to seeing a lot of you on the river this summer.
All right, only a few months to go.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
actually
It's
snowing
snowing
out
right
there.
now,
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah.
About time. All right. Well, thanks, Noah. Appreciate it. And I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.